And we are back. This is Sirius XM Channel 84, the ESPNU station. We are streaming live over on YouTube. If you are watching there, please hit that like button, subscribe, do all of those good things. Ask us questions in the chat. We'll be answering questions during the breaks. All right, I teased it. Memphis, they've won 5 straight games. They went on the road today. I know Houston is shorthanded, but they went into that building and they knocked off the Cougars. I think that this team, the way that they're playing right now, is good enough to be able to put together a run to the tournament. Now, they got to win at Wichita. They got to win at Cincinnati, I think. And they also are probably going to want to get that win at home against Houston to really make themselves feel comfortable. But like right now, this is a team to me that is probably just on the wrong side of the cut line with opportunities to make it better. But most importantly, Sweeney, it feels like they are actually playing better. And the strangest thing to me, we spent all offseason hyping up a 17-year-old freshman and an 18-year-old freshman and the impact they would have for this team. And we're here in February, and they're winning because of a 25-year-old Evansville transfer. How about that?
Yeah, I mean, Williams was really good in this game. I think they got back to a lot of what they did really well down the stretch last year, which was playing a lot through him, spreading out, Nolly hitting some big shots. You know, they have now the enforcer on the inside, and Duran, who I thought had one of his better games of late today. He was really important against the Houston team that just mauls you on the glass. I mean, he did a great job of. I think they won the rebounding. Yeah, they did win the rebounding battle, which against Houston. Yeah. Against Houston, nobody wins the rebounding battle against Houston. So
second time this season that Houston has lost the rebounding battle.
So I was very impressed. I felt that the buy-in was there. And I alluded to this earlier on Twitter. I think Memphis has had some moments where it really was about to go off the rails, and it just barely stayed on the tracks. And I think the road game at Tulsa, when they were down 15 in the second half, after that was the weekend that they had that Penny had said all the stuff after the SMU game, and everyone was calling for his head, and the team stinks and this and that. And they found a way to not lose that game. If they lose that game, they're 3-5 in the league, 9-9 overall. Instead, they come back, they win the game. And I think that's the shifting point for them. Since that moment, they have kind of played free, played without pressure, played energized. They've gotten back to guarding at a high level. Since that game, they haven't given up 70 points in the game. Today, they were really good defensively against a Houston team that is known for its defense, but it's really good offensively as well. I mean, they have turned the corner. Now, can they maintain it? Can they deal with success like they've dealt with the adversity? We'll see. But man, hard not to have been impressed with the effort today on the road against a really good Houston team.
I think the biggest thing for Memphis is you got to stay in the moment. I think, it's not, we won today and that's terrific, but we got to stay in the moment because they're going to be judged over this next week, at Cincinnati, SMU. But the one thing you got to give Penny a lot of credit to when people are going to get on them, when it gets off the rails a little bit, it takes a great leader and great character of men to get them back on the rails too, and he's done that to not only the Tulsa win you talked about, because that was huge coming back there, because sometimes those are your toughest games. The environment's not great. Your back's against the wall. It's a big game for Tulsa. But today, like we talked about, they talked all year, young and old. Can they get along? Well, we had a mixture today. Quinones, Nolly, Williams, they combined for 46 points, and then Duran, gets 14-11. But the toughness plays, they hold Houston at 30% from the three. They shoot 10 more free throws. Okay. And they turn them over 19 times and they win the rebounding battle. That's huge. And they did it on the road. They're going to be defined though by this week. They haven't arrived today, and that's, I think, Penny's biggest point. He's got to talk to them guys. It's about, hey, now we got to be great tomorrow. Whether it's rest, treatment, we got to be good in practice Monday, and we got to be ready to go at Cincinnati, because those are going to be 2 really tough games for them at Cincinnati, SMU. Can you handle success?
What was really impressive to me about Memphis today is that they were up for most of that second half. Like they were in control for a long time in that game. And Houston went on an 11-0 run with to take a 5-point lead with, I think there was 3 minutes left in that game. And Memphis immediately responded and scored the next 11 points. They get down 5. They call timeout. Landers Nolly bangs a 3. And then the possession after that, I think DeAndre Williams hit a three. They hit back-to-back threes in the span of about 20 seconds to take the lead and then score the next 6 points. So they went from basically giving a game away on the road that they needed to win to answering a run from Houston with a run of their own to win on the road in that environment, which is just that's not, I don't think that's something that they would have done 2 months ago. They still have the turnover issues. That's never going to go away because there's no point guard on the roster. But it feels like there's actually leadership on this team now. It feels like the people in that locker room are all fighting for the same thing and all trending in that same direction. It feels like everybody on the court has the same goal and wants to do the same things at this point. And Sweeney, I can't help but notice that all of this is happening with one specific kid missing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's worth wondering whether you want him back in the mix at this point, right? Obviously, he's unbelievably talented, right? Emoni Bates is super gifted, but if you've kind of started to figure out the chemistry right now, you're kind of figuring out the shot allocation, everyone's kind of buying into their roles. I wouldn't want him back on the floor this year. I mean, unless it's a really limited, very defined role, I think you roll with the guys you got. You have the talent to get to the NCAA tournament and be dangerous once you get there without him. And to me, again, maybe that ends the Emoni Bates era at Memphis because, if you don't bring him back, is he coming back? No, but he's might not be coming back anyway. I mean, I think if you've got it rolling right now, you can't mess with it because you add him back into the mix and all of a sudden things could go haywire once again.
Yeah. The one thing I will say is this, and Prom, I'll tee you up on it because I know that you've dealt with some players that have been in this situation, is I compare what's going on with Emoni to what's going on with Shaedon Sharpe, where Shaedon Sharpe is currently on that Kentucky bench in every game. He's on the roster. He's on scholarship. He's not playing. They're not rushing his process, right? Whereas Emoni, it feels like everything has been, let's get to the league as fast as possible. Let's try to get him eligible for the 2022 draft. Let's take him as a 17-year-old that weighs 175 pounds and go and put him on a Division I team with all of this hype and all of this expectation and ask him to play a completely different position than he's ever played in his entire life. It just, to me, I look at those two things and I say, Shaedon Sharpe, no one knows what he is. He hasn't hurt his stock. He hasn't done this. He hasn't done that. Whereas Amani's in a position where it's like, okay, is he worth a first round pick at this point? Like there are actual conversations that are being had right now. I look at those two situations and the way that they've been handled. And I think that one's been handled well. And one, I don't mean to second guess, but I think that there's people that wish they did things a little differently.
Yeah. I think at the core of it, what is the best thing long-term, for the student athlete, and what is the best thing to put them in position to be successful? And, I kind of always go back to like point guards, and, we've been fortunate over the years, have had some really good guards to where, hey, you are a point guard, but you may not, right as a freshman, have the ball in your hands as the point guard from day one. And that's not a knock, but that's to put you in position for you to get comfortable, to you get adjusted to college, to you to make plays off ball reversal instead of having to initiate, breaking defenses down, And now you start getting comfortable. Now you start getting, some more experience and some confidence. And then as you, grow, now we start moving you over to the, to where you're the dominant point guard and have the ball in your hands as those older guys move on. And I think at the end of the day is what's the best to put them in the best situation to build confidence and make sure that they're ready. And I think that's the job as a coach.